Let's give our praises to the Most High, whose true name in the ancient Hebrew is Yahweh, in the name of his only begotten Son, whose true name in the ancient Hebrew is Yahweh Shai, and the Holy Spirit, which in the ancient Hebrew is the Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elders of GMS who taught us this truth by the Holy Spirit. Honors to the brothers risking their life and freedom to push the gospel. Peace and blessings to the elect who would be the so called Negros, Latinos, and Native Americans who make up the lost 12 tribes of Israel according to scripture and prophecy. The elect would be one third of the Israelites who in the last days will return back to Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai to receive salvation, while the two-thirds of Israel who don't turn back to the Most High in time be destroyed with America. And that's according to prophecy. We back with another lesson through the mercy of Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai. This lesson will be titled "The DHS Caught Lying on So-Called Black People So They Can Kill Us with Their Military." The DHS caught lying on so-called black people so they can kill us with their military. So, getting straight into it, who and what is the DHS? Pretty much, they work hand in hand with the military, the Pentagon, the Department of War, and we gonna get this real quick. What does the Department of Homeland Security do, or the DHS? The Department of Homeland Security, the DHS, works to improve the security of the United States. The department's work includes customs, border, and immigration enforcement, emergency response to natural and man made disasters, anti terrorism work, and cybersecurity. So they watch for threats within and outside of the United States. In the Department of Homeland Security, they got that they got their eyes set on so-called black people. So now we know who the DHS is, what's the lie that was told. So let's get into that. So you see this picture right here. You see at the top the Department of Homeland Security. Now, let's see what they posted. FAFO. We heard that before. If you threaten or lay hands on our law enforcement officers, we will hunt you down and you will find out really quick. We'll see you cowards soon. Who are they talking about? So called black people. And then they posted this picture under the post, which is a group of so called young black boys. And it says, ICE, we're on the way. Word in the streets, cartels put a 50K bounty on y'all. So this image is fake. DHS posted it as if these young black boys posted this picture threatening ICE agents, which this is fake and we're going to prove it. So they straight up lying on our people. These young black boys didn't say this. This is all made up by the DHS, your government. And what's the reason for the lie? Well, remember what we've been saying since the beginning of the year, that Esau Edom, the white man, through the United States government, is making war with the 12 tribes of Israel. I've been showing this picture, Trump's war on brown skinned people. No, this is war on Israelite people, the so called Negros, Latinos, Native Americans. And this is bigger than Trump. You know, it's bigger than Trump. This is the American government. But again, war on the Israelite people. And Anytime Esau the white man goes to war, what he's gonna do, he's gonna start speaking bad about you. Like with the so-called Mexicans, Guatemalans, Venezuelans, who make up the northern kingdom of Israel. What did he say about them? They was taking over apartment complexes, that the Venezuelan gangs was going at war with the Chicago gangs, that the Venezuelans and the Brazilians and the Guatemalans, they was um, selling and drug dealing. They was committing a lot of crime and getting away with it, all made up. And then what happened? Esau the white man went after the Northern Kingdom, the so-called Latinos and Native Americans. He went against them. He came after them with their military, with their ICE agents, started deporting them, snatching them up all over the place. Well, now we see this happening to the so-called blacks. Now he's beginning to throw all these false accusations against our people, saying we the face of crime, we commit most of the crime, we the face of gun violence. Now he's saying that our people are threatening ICE agents with this fake post that they created. But enough of this. We gonna get into this video. That's gonna prove everything and tie it all together. And you see the title: DHS threatens race war with fake video of black teen. So we gonna make this full screen so we can get into it.
All right, guys, we got to talk about this. So, you know how we basically have a bunch of young groiper idiots who are staffing the Republican politicians' campaigns and their cabinets and stuff? Well, now that's all coming to a head because, you're seeing them tweet casual Nazi memes, subtle hidden Heil Hitler stuff, remigrate, which is just a euphemism for ethnic cleansing. Now you have the Department of Homeland Security is trying to start a race war based on fake news and lies. Here's one example right here. So Homeland Security tweets the following: "If you threaten or lay hands on our law enforcement officers, we will hunt you down and you will find out really quick. We'll see you cowards soon." So they tweet this video. We're going to take a look at this video. Ready? So it's a 10-second video. I'm going to mute it because it's copyright music that's playing. But it says on the screen here, ICE, we're on the way. Word in the streets, cartels put a 50K bounty on y'all. And so it's a group of black kids, black teenagers, and this one's trying to make like a scary looking face or whatever, and cover, putting the mask over his mouth. But the idea is, it looks like they're sort of threatening ICE. They're threatening ICE and saying we're working with the cartels or whatever to make $50,000 by killing you. So look at this. Ready? Now again, look at how young these black kids are. I'm actually not even sure. Some of them might not even be teens, right? Like they might be teens, but some of them look like they might even be younger. This could be like a 12-year-old, right? But Homeland Security tweets this out. Okay, ready for the reality? Here is the original video that they fucking changed the text on. So this was tweeted in the wake of Trump attacking Iran. This was tweeted. This video with the text, "You seen what we can do. Don't say something that you can't finish, Iran. We are already united. We all stand. We want all the smoke." So here we go. So this was a video, like a bunch of... Kid's got fucking braces. Again, he's like 12 years old. This is a video of... If anything, it's sort of like, I don't think these people are outright political, but it's sort of like a subtle pro-Trump thing, if anything. Because they're basically like joking and threatening Iran here and pretending like, yeah, you want to fuck with us? Like, we'll fuck you up. We're America. So if anything, it's like a tacit agreement with Trump illegally bombing Iran. And Department of Homeland Security just lied and now put a fucking target on this kid's back by pretending he's threatening ICE agents. This is so fucking irresponsible, but they don't care. They're trying to spark a fucking race war, is what they're trying to do. Trying to get a black teen, if that, maybe a black 12-year-old, killed. All right, ready? So here's the kid. The young man responds.
Okay, so we're going to show a few screenshots just to sort of repeat what he said to make sure we all get the point. So the DHS posted this, like this group of young black boys um, made a video threatening ICE agents, which why the DHS posted it, saying, if you lay hands on our law enforcement officers, we're gonna hunt you down. In this text, the DHS created this to pretty much not only put a target on their back, but to put a target on all so called black people together. Why? Because we are of the 12 tribes of Israel. Just like the target is already on the so called Native American and Latin American people, now the target will be on the so called blacks, you know, the so called Negros who make up the lost 12 tribes of Israel as well. So this is the fake one that the DHS created. This is the original that this young man actually created. And again, it wasn't against ICE, it was against Iran when Trump bombed them earlier this summer. So if anything, they're supporting Trump. If anything, they're supporting Trump and his decision. So that's that. And this is another post, somebody posting it. Someone stole his video and edited the original. It's to Iran from June 22nd. And somebody showing the original to the left with the fake. Again, this is original. It was a threat to Iran, which was all the joke on their part. They doing it for views for TikTok. And the DHS took it and edited and made it look like it was a threat to ICE agents. And they're being called out about this. So Christy Noam, DHS under fire for sharing doctored video portraying black teens as ICE threats. So they really trying their best to drag us into this race war, to drag us into this conflict. After the Department of Homeland Security's official X account posted a video featuring a group of black teenagers that many have called out as fake. Chrissy Noam, the director of the department, was called out by Eric, the representative demanded that the video be deleted, or Noam will have to answer for apparent digital manipulation in progress or in Congress. Hey, so they need to be sued. Showing you, this they the Congress, the DHS actually went and lied, fabricated this stuff and pushed it out there. According to Raw Story, on October 17th, the DHS posted a video which depicts several young black men posturing in a park with a caption that conveys that the group was openly threatening immigration and customs enforcement agents. However, it was not long until users on social media found the original video wherein the threat issue in jest was actually aimed at Iran and not ICE. So somebody, immediately connected to the known post, noting in a now deleted post quoting that the department's video that the video is fake. Christie, delete this tweet or answer for it in Congress. It's fake. You're the queen of photoshopping. This is the same smear you pulled on Kilmar Garcia. You're destroying these kids' lives over a doctored or a fake video. Take it down. And it's not just about the kids, because I'm sure she don't even know these kids. But what she's trying to do, she's trying to get all so-called black people, all so-called Negroes, and not just us, but the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. They're trying to get us killed. They're trying to get us destroyed. and they're gonna lie, throw all kind of false accusations, push all kind of things to the media, whatever they can, to justify themselves and sending their military after us. Now, let's get back to this video.
I'm getting these mad messages from my DMs and social media and on my comments. And I randomly get a text message talking about a recent video that was posted on my account. I was like, what are y'all talking about? By the way, I'm sick, so if I sound weird, yeah. I get threats daily on IG and everywhere all over my social media all of a sudden due to an old video I posted months ago about Iran. Iran, that was not to be a threat. It was literally a joke, bro. Like, seriously, it's just content. Anyways, once I seen that video that was posted on my account, then I was like, what the fuck? Well, didn't I post this like months ago? Then I seen the caption, and then I was like, wait, I didn't do that. I still got the video saved on my draft from months ago on TikTok, bro. I'm gonna pull it up right here. Here's the fucked up part. The federal government is involved for something that I didn't do. Like, what? So this is what they reposted off my TikTok. That video got taken down. So here's what they reposted on their page. That video was going crazy as hell on Twitter, bro. Now I'm a threat to the government for something that I didn't do, bro. Now I'm being called a wannabe YN, a wannabe gangster over a video that I didn't caption or I didn't post. So thankful my followers for letting me know about this, because seriously, this is getting out of hand. Like, literally, this is going crazy viral all over social media right now. Probably might end up being on the news, bro. So my apologies for that contradiction and rumors from happening. I know my First Amendment, but I did not post that video. So to clear that out, I did not post that video. And I apologize for all the rumors that's going around right now on social media about this conflict.
They smeared this kid and they defamed this kid, and now he's
You heard that.
out and be like, wait, I didn't say that. I didn't do that. It was a joke video against Iran.
You heard that. Key words.
They smeared this kid and they defamed this kid, and now
he said they smeared him and defamed him. Keep them words in mind. They smeared him and defamed him. Now let's get into the scriptures a little bit. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 50, verse 20. Thou sittest and speakest against thy brother. Thou slanderest thy own mother's son. And this is concerning who? Jacob and Esau. Jacob represent the 12 tribes of Israel, Negros, Latinos, Native Americans. Who would his brother be? Esau. And the descendants of Esau would be the Edomites, who are so-called white people today. Over and over, Esau, the white man, is constantly slandering his brother. Now, let's look at this word slanderous. Let's go to this word slanderous in the Hebrew. And pretty much it's going to take you to the word slander, which I got over here to the right. It says the action or crime of making a false spoken statement damaging to a person's reputation. So what ICE did in posting this, if you threaten or lay hands on our law enforcement officers, we will hunt you down. This is them. It's not about the boy. He's not, they not just slandering the boy. No, they slandering us as a people, us as a nation, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, but especially the so-called Negroes, they slandering us. Making false accusations against us as a people. And why so? Because we get that in a minute. But when you go to similar words for slander, what do you see? The defamation or to defame, and that's what the gentleman said in the video, that the young black boy, they defamed him, they smeared him. Let's continue. Character assassination, misrepresentation of character, scandal mongering, malicious gossip, Smear campaigning. See that? The gentleman said they defamed him and smeared him. Smear, that's like when you throw dirt on somebody's name, somebody's character. Pretty much when you lie on them. Look at this. To lie, to smear, untruth, false accusation, false report. This post is a false report. And they know it's false. They know it's a lie. Because, like the young man said, they took his video down. And then a DHS re uploaded this one, thinking everybody was going to forget about it, thinking nobody was going to notice. But again, it's no target or no threat against this young man himself, but it's against us as a people. And we're going to show that even in the scriptures, when the other nations wanted to destroy and kill the Israelites, they would slander them. They would give all kind of false report, lie on them to justify why the Israelites needed to be killed. And that's what Esau the white man is doing today. Lying, false reports, slandering us. Why? Because they want to kill us. And that's why now, when we come to the book of Psalms 55, we're going to give verse 20. He hath put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. You see that? You know, these guys are not political. It was for content. But if you take it for what it is, they supporting Trump against Iran. They're at peace with Trump. Again, if you take it for what it is. And what it say? He hath put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. And that's what they've been doing with these ICE agents. Coming at people who has been law-abiding citizens. People that's been helping America function. Making America great. He have broken his covenant. You know, he's breaking all the people constitutional rights, breaking the Bill of Rights. It goes on to say, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. So, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter. Like I would say, if you threaten or lay hands on our ICE agents, you know, we will hunt you down. So they making it seem like, you know, they're protecting ICE agents. They're making it seem like they protecting uh, federal agents. That's the smooth part. It sound good, but what it say? War is in his heart. It's not about protecting ICE agents. No, this is about war against the 12 tribes. They say anything and everything to justify a war against our people. They say any and everything to justify themselves in trying to exterminate and kill our people. His words were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. So you can go to war with the sword, actual weapons. But how do wars start? With words. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. That's the order. He gonna speak a certain word, then what's gonna follow? The sword. And even when you slander and lie on somebody, what it say? Character assassination. Damage their reputation. That's like killing somebody when you damage their reputation. That's like killing somebody. Character assassination. Because false report, lying on people, that can lead to people getting put to death. And this has always happened to the Israelites throughout history. The Israelites will be slandered because the nations wanted to kill us. No different than it is today. And that's the thing. See, when Esau about to make his move, what he's gonna do? He's gonna slander you. He's gonna say you the face of crime. He's gonna say you are a threat to the American people. He's gonna make you some kind of public threat, public enemy. That's what he's done to the Northern Kingdom. The so-called Negro, the so-called Latino and Native American tribes of Israel. He did that at the beginning of the year. Talking about Venezuelan gangs, Guatemalan gangs, they trapping and drug dealing, taking over neighborhoods, all BS. And then what? He made his move on them. Came at them with their ICE agents, started deporting them, snatching people up, as it is to this day. Well, now he's slandering so-called blacks. So you know what's gonna come next. They about to get ready to send a military after us. They already got ICE coming after our people. But we thought it was about illegal immigration. We thought it was about undocumented immigrants. So why is ICE coming after so-called Negroes? That's the next lesson. ICE is already after our people. That military next. Because this is the Department of Homeland Security. What he say? What they say? We'll see you cowards soon. Who are they talking about? So-called Negroes. But really, all 12 tribes. Now, let's continue. Yet the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. Yeah, so war is in their heart, and they're going to bring war to our people, which has already started. But they want to come full force. But they gotta justify themselves first. They gotta make us out to be the enemy first. Now, you remember all the talk with the changes in the Department of Defense, how they started calling it the Department of War. We did the lesson on it. Brothers did the reporting on it. Well, you remember Trump had that meeting with all the top captains and war generals. Well, let's remind ourselves something that was said here. Pete Hegseth issues warning to enemies. F around and find out. Let's get that. Then we gonna link it to something.
Is so costly in blood and treasure. We owe our republic a military that will win any war we choose, or any war that is thrust upon us. Should our enemies choose foolishly to challenge us, they will be crushed by the violence, precision, and ferocity of the War Department.
So he's talking about war, winning any war that comes their way. He's speaking about the enemy and crushing the enemies with violence. All this tough talk. You would think that they're talking about Russia, so-called Middle East, Iran, Iraq, Yemen, Hamas, the Houthis, China, the North Koreans. You would think he's talking about them. Seeing that this is the Department of War, a whole military, speaking about crushing their enemies. Now let's see who they're talking about.
In other words, to our enemies, FAFO.
He said to their enemies, FAFO. Who's the enemy? As he been trying to tell you, the enemies would be the 12 tribes, so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans. Now let's prove it. Now what did he say?
In other words, to our enemies, FAFO.
Let's go back to the post that the DHS created. Department of Homeland Security. What did they say? FAFO. And who did they post? So-called black people. So that whole FAFO, F around to find out, that whole speech, this whole meeting was against the 12 tribes. You so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans. That FAFO was directed at us. That's why the DHS opened up their post FAFO. How did the post end? By posting so-called young black men. This is the target. This is the enemy that they after. This is who they talking about. They gonna crush. So we gonna get a little bit more. We gonna come to the book of Esther. Lord willing, this laptop don't die. And we gonna get the book of Esther in the NLT. We gonna show an example of how the nations slandered the children of Israel to justify a reason on why the nations should exterminate the children of Israel. That's taking place today. So this is Esther. We're going to start at um, chapter 3, verse 5. And you know the story. You had Mordecai, who was an Israelite, and there was Haman, who hated Mordecai and wanted the Israelites to get killed. That's the backstory. So we're going to start at verse 5 to kind of get through it kind of quick. When Haman saw that Mordecai would not bow down or show him respect, he was filled with rage. And that's no different today. You know, as a whole, is our people, we represent Mordecai. We rising up, we standing up against the white man and his system and the oppression. But more specifically, Mordecai will represent the elect. And what we not laying down and taking it no more. There are people waking up and rising up, you know, however they choose to do so. But the elect, we rising up and standing on the words of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah, the law, statutes, and commandments. He who is Haman had learned of Mordecai's nationality. So he decided it was not enough to lay hands on Mordecai alone. What was Mordecai's nationality? Let's go up to verse 4. So they spoke to Haman about this to see if he would tolerate Mordecai's conduct. Mordecai didn't bow. We're not going to bow to the white man and his system today. Since Mordecai had told them he was a Jew, and we tell these people today, we the real Jews, we the Israelites, we the sons of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah. And them Mordecai telling Haman and the people that he was an Israelite, that made it all the worse. And that's the same thing today. We could be anything but an Israelite. As soon as we start saying that, it's war. And what we tell the people, we Israelites, just like Mordecai told him he was a Jew. Back to verse 6. He had learned of Mordecai's nationality. So he learned he was a Jew, an Israelite. So he decided it was not enough to lay hands on Mordecai alone. So he could have did something to Mordecai, killed them, and been done with it. But Haman said something bigger, something more needed to be done. Instead, he looked for a way to destroy all the Jews throughout the empire of Xerxes. So killing Mordecai wasn't enough once he found out that he was an Israelite. He like, no, we got to kill all the Israelites. So he looked for a way that he could get them all killed. And that's what Esau the white man is doing today. What can we do to justify killing all the so-called Negros, Latinos, Native Americans? So in the month of April, during the 12th year of King Xerxes' reign, lots were cast in Haman's presence. The lots were called Purim. So they pretty much was coming up with ways on how they could get all of the Jews, the Israelites, destroyed, to determine the best day and month to take action. And that's what Esau doing behind camera. They looking at the calendar. They coming up with plans and wicked schemes on seeing, what's going to be the best time period, the best month, the best week, the best day to come after us. And what do they need to do to prepare before they actually come after us? And the day selected was March 7th, nearly a year later. So they put months into planning out how they would actually try to kill all the Israelites, just like Esau the white man is doing today. And Haman is an Edomite. Edomite are so-called white people, Caucasians. So Haman is back today. It says that Haman approached King Xerxes and said, "There is a certain race of people scattered throughout all the provinces of your empire." Who's scattered today? So-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, who keep themselves separate from everyone else. And what separates us today more than anything when we claim our Israelite heritage? Because to be holy means to be separate. So as we turn back to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah and claim our Israelite heritage, we're separating from everyone else. Their laws, the statutes and commandments are different from those of any other people. Dietary laws, no LGBTQ, no idolatry as we return back to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah. And they refuse to obey the laws of the king. We're not going to get the RFID microchip. We're not going to bow down and worship this digital beast system. Let's continue. So it is not in the king's interest to let them live. So Haman trying to convince King Xerxes why we as a people should all be put to death. Esau the white man is doing that today. Verse 9. If it please the king, issue a decree that they be destroyed, and I will give 10,000 large sacks of silver to the government administration to be deposited in the royal treasury. The king agreed. It sounded good to him, confirming his decision by removing his signet ring from his finger, giving it to Haman, son of Hammedatha the Agagite, the enemy of the Jews. And Agagite goes into like one of the grandsons or great grandsons of Esau. So Haman was an Edomite, a so called white man. The king said, "The money and the people are both yours to do with it as you see fit." So on April 17th, the king's secretaries were summoned, and a decree was written exactly as Haman dictated. It was sent to the king's highest officers, the governors of the respective provinces, and the nobles of each province in their own scripts and language. The decree was written in the name of King Xerxes and sealed with the king's signet ring. Dispatches were sent by swift messengers into all the provinces of the empire, giving the order that all Jews, Israelites, young, old, including women and children, must be killed, slaughtered, and annihilated on a single day. So this is what Esau the white man is waiting on. A certain day, the enemy gonna come in like a flood. They gonna roll on us to do what? To kill us, to slaughter us, to completely annihilate us. That's why the scriptures say what? They should be like madmen, sparing none. This was scheduled to happen March 7th of the next year. So they was passing letters, messengers, working behind the scenes, preparing for the day that they would kill all of Israel. This is what the white man is planning. The property of the Jews would be given to those who killed them. A copy of this decree was to be issued as law in every province. See that? It was issued as a law. The scriptures say what? Woe to them who decree unrighteous decrees. So when they do roll us on a military, it's gonna be a law. But they gotta accuse us of breaking all sorts of crime. They gotta make us, a public enemy. To say by law, we as a people must be put to death. A copy of this decree was issued as law in every province, proclaimed to all peoples, so that they will be ready to do their duty on the appointed day. So they gathered So all the people was in on this against the Israelites. All people was gathered together to slaughter, to kill, to annihilate all the Israelites. So that's why the DHS is lying and made this fake post. Verse 15, at the king's commandment, the decree was sent out by swift messengers. So these niggas sending emails, text messages, they got group chats, they got Facebook groups on how they gonna roll on us. So that was pretty much it. So yeah, and we see here that I actually probably missed it at the beginning. Let me see. Well, you see how they slandered us. There is a certain race of people scattered throughout all your provinces of your empire who keep themselves separate from everybody else. Their laws are different from those of any other people. They refuse to obey the laws of the king. So it is not in the king's interest to let them live. It's pretty much slandering them. So after he slandered them, gave a false report, defamed them, what came next? The decree. The decree to kill and to slaughter and to annihilate all the Jews, young, old, including women and children. So that's the order of business. You know, they gonna slander us, give all kind of false reports, lie on us, say we're guilty of this, guilty of that, that we don't fit in America, and that we should be removed by being killed. That's what Esau the white man is doing. And this is the book of Luke 21 and 20. And when you see Jerusalem surrounded by armies, not the land of Jerusalem, but the people of Jerusalem, we being surrounded by armies right now. That's why you got ICE popping up um, in democratic cities and throughout America. National Guard being deployed in democratic cities and throughout America. The military next. So we slowly being surrounded on all sides. Then when you see Jerusalem, the people of Jerusalem, the 12 tribes of Israel in America surrounded by armies, then you will know that the time of its destruction has arrived. And what's our destruction? Esther 3:13. Dispatches were sent by swift messengers into all the provinces of the empire, giving the order that all Jews, young, old, including women, children, must be slaughtered, annihilated, killed on a single day. And that's what the King Alfred plan is about, and these other government contingency plans. So, yep, the DHS got caught lying on so-called black people. Why? So they can justify themselves in killing us with their military. Why? Because this is a war against the 12 tribes of Israel. They want to slaughter, annihilate, and kill all so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans. The two-thirds of our people will be got. But when the enemy come in like a flood, the Lord gonna lift up a standard. So, Lord willing, that was informative, edifying. Till next time, Shalom.